My name is Joe. 20 years ago, my wife and I moved to Lake County with our 4 young children and settled down. In that time, we've worked, worshiped, played, and raised our family. Today, I've met the people and discovered the businesses and organizations that make up a vibrant, dynamic community. Join us as we share with you what makes South Lake great. I'm Joe, and Joe knows South Lake. Good morning. Welcome. It is Wednesday, September 11th. I would say happy Wednesday, but again, it is September 11th. So we are going to cover some subjects today. Today on this, my name is Joe Carlisle, and this is Joe Knows South Lake. Today on Joe Knows South Lake, we're going to talk about 9/11 for a hot minute. We're going to talk about what changed, and tune in for that. We'll also talk about are you having a good day or a bad, and how to change a bad day into a good one. Actually, the president is currently speaking at the Pentagon. There are memorial services all around the country, including our own community of South Lake. Right now at in Claremont, at the Claremont Arts and Recreation Center, there is a service not to just memorialize 9/11 and the people who passed, but to honor all first responders who run into danger when the rest of us are running away. I want to say thank you for joining us today. We will hear from our sponsors right now, and I'll see you in just a couple of minutes.
Purchasing a home? Hi, I'm Mary Rhodes with the Mortgage Firm, your local direct lender for FHA, VA, conventional, and USDA mortgages. Whether you're a first-time home buyer, a seasoned investor, or looking to purchase a vacation home, we can help. Visit our website today for more information.
Welcome to Erica's Tea Room. Located in the heart of downtown Claremont, this specialty tea shop offers a traditional high tea experience that can be enjoyed with family and friends. While here, you can choose from over 100 teas from all over the world, and a multitude of teapots are available for purchase. Join us for lunch or choose from one of our special evening events. Call to make a reservation. Erica's Tea Room, making memories with every cup.
Saturday night, October 5th, Claremont, Florida, get ready as local pro wrestling presents Fight Fest, featuring 6 hard-hitting matches, including the Technical Alchemist, David Mercury, against Aaron Epic. In the semi-main event, a 20-man over-the-top rope battle royal, and former TNA superstar Mr. 630 Jarrell Clark. And the main event for the evening, former WWF WCW superstar, the Cuban Assassin, takes on the marquee Bruce Santee. Adult tickets are $15 and children ages 5 to 12 are only $10. Tickets are available now on Eventbrite. For more details, follow us on Facebook at Local Pro Wrestling or visit localprowrestling.com. Come support Local Pro Wrestling live.
Purchasing a home? Hi, I'm Mary Rhodes with the Mortgage Firm, your local direct lender for FHA, VA, conventional, and USDA mortgages. Whether you're a first-time home buyer, a seasoned investor, or looking to purchase a vacation home, we can help. Visit our website today for more information.
So, I realized as I got my composure together after the last segment that I never mentioned our guest. I'm really looking forward to speaking to Grace Diaz. She's a life coach. She's an author of a children's book, has an amazing story, and she's doing something very cool in the community. We'll talk about that in a few minutes, especially when I get her on, obviously. What I want to talk about today, obviously, it's 9/11. It's one of those days, it's a little, it's hard to deal with. You know, literally a day that changed America. I know where I was, and I don't know anybody who doesn't know where they were when they heard about the World Trade Center and the 2 towers. How about you, Jay? Do you know if anybody's like oblivious to this day?
No, sir.
No, I was actually talking to Jay a little bit earlier. Apparently, he was on the verge. He was being recruited. He knows where he was. Doris knows where she was. I know that my wife does. I do. All my children know, and they were young. It's one of these cultural, generational events And it's only 18 years ago, and we still remember it with quite a bit of visceral reaction. You know, me, I'm an American, and I'm a true old school John Wayne, red-blooded jarhead. And days like this are emotional for me. And not because I didn't actually directly know anybody who passed away. You know, 20% of Americans personally knew somebody who died on 9/11 in the World Trade Center. There are 40% of Americans know somebody who was at the World Trade Center that day. All of us have been affected in some way by 1 or 2 degrees of separation by what happened that day. So what did happen? Well, we all know that it was a couple of towers were hit by terrorists. Gorgeous day starting out. First day of school. Thank God it was the first day of school, because a lot of people weren't at work in the towers because they had taken a late day. Either they were going to take a half day or day off to get their kids to school. The North Tower was hit at 8:46 a.m. It collapsed at 10:28. The South Tower was hit at 9:03 and collapsed at 9:59. The collapsing of the 2 towers literally destroyed almost 20 buildings in the area and later caused the collapse of 7 World Trade Center, which was a 7-story high hotel and conference center in the World Trade Center area. The numbers just out of the World Trade Center was 2,763 dead. 2,192 were civilians, 343 were firefighters, and 71 were law enforcement. And on those last two categories, you've got to imagine that 90% of those came to the building. They weren't already there. I say this because it's important to remember a day like today. It is 18 years later. Do we want to still be angry about it? Well, we'll talk about that in half a minute. You know, the thing that I can remember that was so haunting to me was I was actually watching TV, watching the live feed like many millions of Americans when that second plane hit. I can remember thinking, did that really happen? Or was it a visual? Did that plane just fly behind? And, you know, it became pretty obvious that it didn't. You know, there was a news report from somebody, and my wife reminded me of this. One of the most haunting things from that day was Matt Lauer at like 2-3 in the afternoon reporting from hospitals that were waiting for the casualties, waiting for the sound of ambulances that were supposed to be bringing people to them, and they were silent. Nobody was coming. It was a great indicator of the enormity and the severity of this event. Well, we're 18 years later. Some of us still feel this more viscerally than others. Some would like to forget about it. I mean, in truth, we entered into 2 wars, Iraq and Afghanistan, because of this day in our life. And I could go on with politics and my opinion about why that has happened for so long and what we did wrong and what we should have done right, but I won't. The question I would ask you today is, as you remember this, it's good to remember things like this. It is, okay? My wife honors her father's birthday and her mother's birthday every year. I have people in my life that I remember the day they passed every year. Maybe not in a celebration or I'm putting it out wide, but I remember it. I celebrate it. I memorialize them. But they get memorialized to spur change in my life. So my question to you is, what changes have you made in your life? Use a day like today not to wallow in the sorrow and the tragedy of the last 18 years. Let's remember the kids that grew up without parents, the spouses that ended up not having somebody to celebrate anniversaries and birthdays with, to not move on to the fun adventures, but had to remember their anniversary as a day of sorrow. Let's remember them. Let's remember all the soldiers who went out to make sure this never happened in America again. But while we're remembering, what are we going to change? What are you going to change in your life? How are you going to let this affect you? You know, this is kind of a theme of my life and Cup of Joe in this show, right? It's we can be upset. We're human, okay? And today is going to be a sad day. If you're like me, if you're like my wife, there's going to be a moment where you get overcome. But that's okay. Because if you don't, I really don't want to know you, frankly. You have no compassion. Having said all of that, what are you going to change? You know, after 9/11, I was supposed to have a job on the top of the World Trade Center at Windows on the World, where the whole staff died. I'd have been there that morning. When my wife and I made the choice to come to Florida, it was come to Florida and go into business with a guy who turned out to be a crook, or go to New York, a city that I loved, and take this dream job. I thought I made the wrong choice. Apparently, man upstairs knows what he's doing, because I did make the right choice. Because I came here, I raised my family. The change for me for this day has always been, I kiss my wife a little bit longer. I hug my children a little bit harder. I make sure I tell the people in my life that I love and who are important to me, that I love them and that they're important to me. You know, that's the way that you can memorialize those folks the best. Is understand, tragedy can happen to us any day. This was a big one. This was something that changed our nation. But it doesn't have to be bad anymore. You can use this to spur the change in your life that needs to be changed. Finally, I'd like to tell you a quick story. You know, I had a chance some 13, 15 years ago to go to, about 13, 15 years ago, to go to a Christian training camp. It was a long-term issue, and I was learning things about myself and learning to change my life and becoming stronger. And the way they supported the camp was they had their own sawmill and their own lumber mill and their own pallet shop. And you worked in one of those industries. It was part of the change process. So there was this guy there. His name was Peter. And man, this guy walked with the most horrible limp. I mean, he had a hard time getting around. You could tell. He had been in some sort of an accident, and I knew him. He was a cool guy. He was a very funny, very popular dude. You know, just always at ease in a crowd. And you know, you worked in a lumber mill. It's not with a bunch of guys who are trying to change their lives. It's not all sunshine, roses, and feel good. And he was never upset. It didn't matter what happened. If the machines went down, if somebody didn't show up, if there were arguments on the floor, if he didn't get to have lunch, he was just never upset. And on a day that he should have been upset, that I was upset, I sat down with him and I said, dude, what are you so happy about? How come all of this stuff never makes you mad? I mean, are you that enlightened? And he looked at me and he said, you know, Joe, he said, I used to own an investment company, me and my two partners, in New York City in the World Trade Center, the day the buildings hit. And he said, and I was in a wheelchair. I was only about a year out of my accident. I had no movement below my waist. So I had to take a wheelchair. And we were on the 90th floor. And they told us we weren't supposed to evacuate. But my partner said, look, man, you're in a wheelchair. If they shut down those elevators, you know, we're not getting out of here. So his partners went to take him down in his wheelchair to start the evacuation process. About 20 floors down, the second tower was hit, and the evacuation order came out. Well, thankfully, by that point, he was below the place that they couldn't evacuate anymore. But there were so many people now streaming down the stairway that he couldn't use the wheelchair. His partners literally carried him the last 40 floors to outside. As he told me this story, there was a faraway look in his eye. You could tell he was remembering this with a real clarity and feeling it all over again. And he told me the story about how they had to time running across the plaza so they weren't hit by the people who were jumping out the window because they couldn't escape. Many people they may have known. So he tells me this story of survival. He tells me this story of how they got 30 blocks away where they could finally breathe, where the dust from the collapsing towers weren't affecting them, where they could get him to medical care so that they could go check on their own families. Obviously, this guy's eternally grateful to his own two partners, right? He looked at me and he said, Joe, it's really hard to have a bad day after that. He started every day, and he told me about how he started every single day with a gratitude list, where he put 10 things on a list that he was grateful for. And he told me every single day, the very first thing on that list was, it's not September 11th, 2001. You know, I want to encourage you. I learned something from that. To this day, I do a gratitude list. I wish I did it every day like he did. I'm not near as disciplined as he was. But I don't get as upset as I used to. And I don't see lack as a judgment on who I am or what I am. I see what I am surrounded by. And today, when you remember 9/11, and you look at our country and you're tempted to be upset at the mistakes we've made, or the things we do wrong, or the borders not being done the way you want them to be done, remember, it's not September 11th, 2001. And this is the United States of America, the best place on earth to ever live in the entire history of mankind. I want to say thanks. We're going to go to our sponsors, who I really love. When we come back, we will have Grace Diaz, who is an outstanding American, an outstanding human being, a philanthropist. I'm really looking forward to speaking to this woman. She has a very cool story, so I'll see you in just a minute.
Purchasing a home? Hi, I'm Mary Rhodes with the Mortgage Firm, your local direct lender for FHA, VA, conventional, and USDA mortgages. Whether you're a first-time home buyer, a seasoned investor, or looking to purchase a vacation home, we can help. Visit our website today for more information.
Welcome to Erica's Tea Room. Located in the heart of downtown Clearmont, this specialty tea shop offers a traditional high tea experience that can be enjoyed with family and friends. While here, you can choose from over 100 teas from all over the world, and a multitude of teapots are available for purchase. Join us for lunch or choose from one of our special evening events. Call to make a reservation. Erica's Tea Room, making memories with every cup.
Saturday night, October 5th, Claremont, Florida, get ready as local pro wrestling presents Fight Fest, featuring 6 hard-hitting matches, including the Technical Alchemist, David Mercury, against Aaron Epic. In the semi-main event, a 20-man over-the-top rope battle royal, and former TNA superstar Mr. 630 Jarrell Clark. And the main event for the evening, former WWF WCW superstar, the Cuban Assassin, takes on the marquee Bruce Santee. Adult tickets are $15 and children ages 5 to 12 are only $10. Tickets are available now on Eventbrite. For more details, follow us on Facebook at Local Pro Wrestling or visit localprowrestling.com. Come support local pro wrestling live.
Welcome to Erica's Tea Room. Located in the heart of downtown Clearmont, this specialty tea shop offers a traditional high tea experience that can be enjoyed with family and friends. While here, you can choose from over 100 teas from all over the world, and a multitude of teapots are available for purchase. Join us for lunch or choose from one of our special evening events. Call to make a reservation. Erica's Tea Room, making memories with every cup.
Saturday night, October 5th, Claremont, Florida, get ready as local pro wrestling presents Fight Fest, featuring 6 hard-hitting matches, including the Technical Alchemist, David Mercury, against Aaron Epic. In the semi-main event, a 20-man over-the-top rope battle royal, and former TNA superstar Mr. 630 Jarrell Clark. And the main event for the evening, former WWF WCW superstar, the Cuban Assassin, takes on the marquee Bruce Santee. Adult tickets are $15 and children ages 5 to 12 are only $10. Tickets are available now on Eventbrite. For more details, follow us on Facebook at Local Pro Wrestling or visit localprowrestling.com. Come support Local Pro Wrestling live.
Welcome back. And just because it's a little bit of a somber day, I don't want to forget our sponsors. I really, really appreciate them. Close to my heart. Mary Rhodes, the mortgage firm, Les Allier at Local Pro Wrestling, and Erica from Erica's Tea Room. You mean more to me than you will ever know. And for those of you who are thinking of advertising with us, you should get on the ball, because right now I can remember every single sponsor. There's going to come a day where you don't get personal attention at every single show. So tune in now. Get the extra attention. I guarantee you it'll be worth it. Anyways, we're joined today by Grace Diaz. I'd like to say welcome, Grace. Thank you for coming.
Thank you for having me.
Grace is an amazing person, part of our local community. She's doing some really cool things. She's done some really cool things. As a matter of fact, I just found out she has her own 9/11 story. We won't go into it here, but needless to say, it was a long, tough day.
It was a long, tough day.
It was a long, tough day.
But God has redeemed it. He redeems
I love
everything.
that. God has redeemed it.
The redemption that getting me to today, amazingly, started in 2001.
Wow.
So that's, and 9/11 was part of that.
Someday down the road, we'll have to talk about the difference between PTSD, which is post-traumatic stress syndrome. Let me see if I do this right. And another syndrome that's far less well known. It's called post-traumatic growth syndrome. Mm-hmm. The idea is the same trauma that makes people stressed is also the same drama same tragedy and trauma that make people grow and become better. So, and obviously it's happened to you. So Grace Diaz is the owner of Grace Diaz LLC Life and Career Coaching Company. She's a certified life coach and a certified career transition coach. She is an author, a speaker, a blogger. She is the founder and director of the Warehouse Empowerment Center. Now, we're going to talk about the Empowerment Center because it's one of the most cool things I've seen done, not just in South Lake, but anywhere. So stay tuned. All right, Grace, welcome. You've obviously have a list. This is a big list right here. I don't do that much stuff, and I do a lot. Okay. Tell us how you went from working in an accounting firm to becoming the owner of a life and career counseling company. That obviously you became certified at some point. Did you have a background in education in counseling? Are you a psychologist and just liked accounting?
Well, I originally wanted to go into psychology and counseling. That was my goal. Always wanted to be a writer. Also, always wanted to write books. But I wanted to be a counselor originally. Then I fell into accounting just because I was good with numbers, and it just seemed like I fell into accounting, and that was my life. But as I was helping people with their finances, I found that they didn't have a financial problem, whether they were a business owner or they were an individual with their taxes, and they were talking to me about their money woes. It turned out it was more of their life, their career choice that was impacting their finances. So as I was helping them through their finances, I decided, well, a lot of times I was helping them career-wise. So that's how I said, okay, now I'm going to go more. I enjoyed it so much. I said, well, I'm going to then help people with their careers. So I became a career consultant as I was doing accounting.
So let me back you up for a second. So you say that you were helping them, that their struggle with their finances was because of their career choices. Is this because they were making career choices that weren't paying them enough money? Were they just not getting paid what they were worth?
They were not working in their passion. most people were not working in their passion because they did not know what their passions were. They just were, oh, we have to get a job, or we have to go to school and just study this. So part of the system that I do now is, get a personality test. Find out what are your what activities you enjoy, what are your interests, what kind of work environment do you fit into. So those are the things that I test as a career coach someone. I give them a personality test that includes all those things. Their moral values, all those things are tested.
It sounds to me like you're coming to this from a perspective of figuring out how they're wired.
Yes.
You're not trying to put a Toyota guy in a Ford.
No.
You're figuring out a Toyota guy likes a Toyota, and career and life wise, putting him in a Toyota. Right?
And not someone in a cubicle who wants to be outside, or someone who's outside who wants to be in a cubicle. So
we've all had that job we hated.
Yes.
Like miserable. I had one when I was in college. I knew. I tried this thing where I was going to work third shift in a factory. It seemed to make sense. I'd work at night. Oh my gosh, it was injection molding. The same 4 movements, like over and over. I didn't last 2 weeks.
No, but a lot of people a lot of times they feel stuck in their lives, and they feel stuck in their career. So as I coach them and give them that test, and I found when they find that passion, when they find what they were called to do, what they were created to do, then you see that light come on inside.
Is that the moment of joy for you? When you see the light come on in their eyes?
Yes. I see the light in their eyes, and I say, yes, that is what you're called to do.
Do you know, Grace, it's so cool that as I interview people and I find people that are doing all sorts of stuff, I find that for the most part, it's not the money that's turning people on. It's that. They find where that joy in helping somebody else, or the joy that somebody gets out of whatever service they provide. For me, it's seeing the joy in a first-time home buyer's eyes when we're closed and they own a house and it occurs to them they'll never rent again. I like the commissions. I'm not going to lie. I like the money. I'm sure you like the money as a coach, right?
Yeah,
we all got to pay the bills. How about you, Jay? Do you like the money?
Yes.
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 Jay likes the money.
I enjoy the passion of the work. The passion of the work. I want to echo what Grace is talking about. I think finding your true calling is more rewarding for people than just having a paycheck. And I really appreciate the fact that she's identifying that for people who really need it to someone else to maybe even some people can't self-realize that. They need someone to help bring that out of them or encourage them to do that. And I think that's what Grace is doing. I think it's cool.
The sad part is I think that there are a whole bunch of people that never even know they got to look. They should be looking. And actually, we're going to jump the book and come back to it, okay?
Okay.
Because the book is a really cool story, too. But Grace is doing something I really want to have time for. It's I talked earlier about she's the founder and director of the Warehouse Empowerment Center. Now, Grace actually has a nonprofit organization. That's what the Warehouse Empowerment Center is. And this nonprofit organization takes single moms and helps them self-realize to go from where they are to transition into being entrepreneurs or some other career they need. And because of her foundation, she does this at no cost. Tell us about the Empowerment Center. Start, please, with why you're passionate about that. I mean, what got you into that? What's showed you the need for it?
Well, as I have young kids, a 9-year-old and a 3-year-old. And a lot of times young mothers, what they find is you put your life on hold till your kids go to school. So with the Empowerment Center, they don't have to do that. They come for their training. They could come for their meetings. They could come with their children. And we have an area. Right now we're located at the Claremont Connection Church in Mineola. And that's a temporary location. I have showed you a diagram of what it will be. Now we're funding and asking investors and donations to build the 1-acre facility that will be a 24-hour daycare and also will be a children's museum, and that will be for the mothers to come and get training. They could come have meetings with their clients. They could come do all the things that they will have to put on hold until their kids go to school, and in order for them to build that dream. And their children also, in the children's museum, they'll be able to pretend at playing at different careers, so they, from a very young age, they're already learning what am I called to do. So this is a ministry for the whole family, the whole community, because it's for children from 6 weeks until 17 years old. So the whole family could come and be empowered, so they could grow, and then they could grow the community. So this will impact the community in an amazing way.
You know, one of the things I really like that you're doing in this, Grace, is you are totally stepping away from what is considered for people in this demographic, okay? I mean, I'm constantly amazed by single moms. I don't know how, my wife and I were both in the mix. We were both heavily involved in our children's lives, and it was still an extreme challenge. Single moms inspire me because when they do it, they're just doing it many times with no acknowledgement. Nobody's patting them on the back. Just the opposite. A lot of times they're just getting judged. And you've gone away from the whole big government, put them in a program. What you're doing is changing the mindset. You're getting these women to take responsibility for their lives and their future,
and not to feel trapped, and not to feel like I have to put my life on hold. Because a lot of times, with not only the people I just coach, regular, men and women that I coach, but a lot of people just feel stuck, and they just need someone to tell them it is possible, and it is possible now to start working towards your goal, and giving them that action plan. Finding what is your calling, giving them an action plan, and telling them, okay, now let's work on that. And and helping them out. If they, now I have to find a sitter, I can come meet with you, I can meet with the clients. No, bring your kids. This is a place where you will always bring your kids and not have to worry. And another thing about the 24-hour daycare will be a minimum of 1 hour drop off and a maximum of 18 hours. Because of course my work days used to be at least 18-hour days. So if you have a meeting and you just need, on the spot, I drop off my kid for an hour, then you could do that. You don't have to start searching, I can go to the meeting, I can do this. That's not a concern.
I love the idea that you've provided, and again, for women in particular, and single moms, as a group, a place that if they want to be an entrepreneur, they don't have to go drop their kids off on this side of town, then go to the meeting space on that side of town. You're trying to provide a place that they can leave the kids. They're not that far away, so
and they're playing and enjoying themselves.
Yeah, they're playing and enjoying themselves, but the mom is still in proximity, and she has a business center that she can sit down and meet with the client, and not have to feel like she dumped her kid off on somebody. It's just they're watching them in the other room. It's almost as good as bringing a teenager into your house if you had a business center in your house, right?
Exactly. So yes, and there they will be able to learn, do seminars, and right now where I'm located at the Connection Church, we do seminars on Saturdays to inspire and to help people as well. And we have always asked for speakers. We always need speakers to come, and when we do our seminars there, to encourage people.
I want to be clear, okay? Grace doesn't just coach single moms. Okay, Grace coaches anybody, including somebody like me if I was in a move to transition my career. If you're stuck in a career, if you're not liking the way your life is, Grace will coach you.
And students as well.
She coaches students, adults. If she's a life coach and a career transition coach. The nonprofit organization is specifically for women and single moms, women with children and single moms.
Yes.
So it's a way. I was inspired by your inspiration too, because you saw a need. You saw single moms needed your services, but many of them couldn't afford it. So you created a foundation, and she has a plan. I have seen her diagram. Like, she's had this drawn up. We talked about the cost of the building alone through the architect, and she's looking for land someplace that's centrally located. As a matter of fact, I could see the look in her eyes when I suggested to her, because I'm in real estate, well, you could get a piece of property a whole lot cheaper if you went out to East Chutchemink. And she was like, yeah, that's a possibility, Joe. I'll take a look at that. And I could see it behind her eyes. You're just not getting it, Joe. I got it later when I thought about it. Grace, I don't want to leave out your book because it was another really cool story. Grace has a children's book that she's written. Brewster House at the Moon?
Rudy House at the Moon.
Rudy House at the Moon. I think we have a graphic up on that book. And one of the cool things about that book is the artist. But I'll tell me the story you told me the other day about how that book started and why you wrote it.
Well, my daughter was at school one day, and her best friend had moved away to another state. So now it was just her and boys sitting at her table in school. So she was playing how she usually plays, by making up stories. She creates characters and she makes up stories. I guess she's a writer as well. And
how old was she?
She was in second grade.
She's in second, so she's young.
Yeah.
She's what, 6, 7 years old?
Yeah, so she was in second grade. So she came home sad and she said, I want to be different. I don't want to play the way I play. I don't want to be like I am. And so as I was trying to encourage her that it's okay to be different, I mentioned how I always love to howl at the moon. And my kids howl with me. We see the moon and just something that we just do. So I told her when I was in college, some people made fun of me for howling at the moon, but my friends encouraged me and said, your true friends will howl with you. Used to howl with me. So I told my daughter, this is just who you are, and you are created unique, and that's just part of your purpose. And I'm trying to encourage her, and then I go to wash the dishes and I get this idea in my head. What if there was a rooster who couldn't crow and he liked to howl at the moon? So that's how the idea came to be, and I just stopped washing the dishes, wrote it down really quick, on a piece of paper, and shared it with my daughter, and she loved it. And so this rooster, it doesn't fit in. He's really not a regular rooster. He can't crow. He likes to howl at the moon, but then he discovers through his journey that his uniqueness is tied to his purpose. And that's for everyone that I coach. That's what we find is like, you were made a certain way and might be different, and you so frustrated sometimes because you don't understand why you're different. But then eventually you'll see something will happen, like it does in the story, where you're called for that moment to your purpose. This is your purpose, and then you understand this is why I was created the way I was created.
You just said something. Your purpose is tied to your destiny. No, what did you just say?
Your uniqueness is tied
your uniqueness is tied to your purpose. I love that. Would somebody write that down for me, please? Your uniqueness is tied. I'm going to totally steal that. It's not even funny. Tell us a little bit about, because I think a cool part of the story of your book is the artist.
Oh yes. Definitely. So the art.
Hang on. Amazing artwork, okay, in this book. Literally amazing. Now tell the story.
Yes, it's available on Amazon. It's through ebook and hardcover and paperback. The artist is 14 years old. So she is an amazing artist, and I just gave her the story, number of the pages, and she drew all the artwork for me. And she is amazing, totally talented. Gaia Porter is her name. So talented. So I want to have a showcase for talented youth here in Claremont, because I know two artists, her and Elise. Elise is my babysitter, but she's also an amazing artist. So I see a 14-year-old. Yes, that is it. A 14-year-old who's talented enough and she's never had any training. And that's the most amazing thing, So so too many talented youth. So I want to, in the next few weeks, create a showcase for both Gaia and for Elise, and show their artwork, or any other talented youth here in Claremont, and showcase their talent. Because I was totally amazed, and the way I came to meet her, she was just a friend of a neighbor of a friend. And she said, oh, Gaia draws. And I'm like, okay. So then I'm seeing it and I'm like, my mouth is open. I'm like, this is what she did for just this, just the story I gave her. And she just paid.
And so here, now Grace, you have a gift for this. I mean, you really, really do. Obviously, you started to slip into your purpose. Just when I hear these kind of stories, I know somebody has a gift for that sort of thing. And from our conversation the other day, this girl isn't just, it is a young lady, right?
Yes, she's 14.
This young lady isn't just talented in the art, but you worked with her over a period of months, and she actually even adjusted and redrew some pictures. So this isn't your typical 14-year-old that goes, oh, I drew some pictures, here you go. Well, they
No,
stink.
I gave her the story, and she did I told her, this is the part of the story that's going to be on this page, and I numbered them, and she drew it. And then there was one that had a lot of wording on it, and it was just one. So then I asked her, I said, can you make this into two? Can you make this picture divided like you did the other pictures? Because some she had created were multi-scenes in one, which was just totally amazing to me. So I said, can you do another multi-scene drawing for me? And she did, of Rudy looking at the different faces of the moon.
Do you know, I know adult artists that aren't that easy to work with.
No, I mean, I was looking for an illustrator. Because
Yeah, she's very talented.
I
too.
wrote the story, and I was looking for an illustrator, and I said, okay, I'll try her. But she came back with all of them, and then I requested an additional one, and she was like, okay, and she just did it. And she's amazingly talented. I wish that, he could show more of the book and see the...
Well, that's why they need to go on to Amazon and buy it.
Yes.
Is so they can see the rest of the artwork. Okay.
Yes, but...
obviously, Grace, you are one of the reasons, people like you are the reason that I love this show. And the reason I'm so looking forward to not just the next few months, but the next few years is finding the unique people that make up the dynamic community we have here in South Lake. And I'm pretty sure you're coming back, by the way. We'll have you on again. I just want to say thanks. It's been great having you, and your story, is an example to us all. You didn't discount the 14-year-old because she was 14. You let her produce. If you want to tell people how to get in touch with you, if you want to tell people how to get the book, I think we've already done that twice, actually. But if you want to tell people how to reach out to you, if they need some coaching, a little bit about how to donate to the Empowerment Center, right there, that's your audience. So,
Hi, thank you. Yes, my website is gracediazllc.com, and you could go on the website and you could order the book there, or you could order the book through Amazon. It's Rudy House at the Moon, so it's available on Amazon as an ebook, as a hardcover, and as a paperback. So you could order it on Amazon. And on my website, you could find out about the Empowerment Center, and you could also find out about coaching and sign up. Contact me through the website. You could contact me so that we could set up an appointment for life coaching. And the donations could be donated through the website as well.
thanks a lot, Grace. I really appreciate it. I want to thank Grace for coming on. Again, this isn't always something easy for people to do, and I really, really appreciate it when they show up on time. That's always a good thing. That's our time for today. So like I said, I want to thank Grace. I want to ask you, look, if you're watching this, you should go to our Facebook page and like our Facebook page. Once you're on our Facebook page, you should be looking at this episode. Like, love, share, help a brother out, throw me a bone, share the episodes. Also, if you know anybody that should be a guest on Joe Knows South Lake, if you know anybody that should be an advertiser or a sponsor for Joe Knows South Lake, let me know. Reach out to me at onejoeknows@gmail.com. I'm not going to give you my phone number yet. You can find it there. Also, finally, I'd like to say that we will be on tomorrow. Our guest tomorrow is Scott Rhodes with the Market Connection. He's a property appraiser, so tomorrow is Homefront. I'm really looking forward to that. Also, I think that's all for today. And I'd like to just remind you there is greatness inside you. As Grace has pointed out, dare to let your greatness out. And don't forget 9/11. Hug your kids a little harder. Kiss your spouse a little longer. And tell the people you love that you love them. This has been Joe Carlisle with Joe Knows South Lake. And I love you. See you tomorrow. Bye-bye. My name is Joe. 20 years ago, my wife and I moved to Lake County with our 4 young children and settled down. In that time, we've worked, worshiped, played, and raised our family. Today, I've met the people and discovered the businesses and organizations that make up a vibrant, dynamic community. Join us as we share with you what makes South Lake great. I'm Joe, and Joe Knows South Lake.